Welcome to the world of Darius Blackman romance. My name is Brian Frazier, and I write under the pen name Darius Blackman. Today, I want to talk about my book, Hope After Dark, Oakland Moon, Book 1. This is the first book in the Oakland Moon series, and it opens the door into a different side of my writing, a side built around adult Black romance, desire, suspense, danger, spiritual inheritance, city pressure, family secrets, and the kind of love that does not come easy because the people involved are not simple. Hope After Dark is romance, but it is not soft romance. It is grown romance. It is city at night romance. It is Oakland romance. It is a story about desire, but also about what desire costs when people have learned to hide from what they want. The book begins with the line, "Desire had a sound." That line is important because it tells the reader exactly what kind of story this is. This is not just about attraction. This is not just about two people seeing each other across a room and falling in love. This is about the sounds people make before they tell the truth, the hesitation, the breath, the silence, the way the body tells the truth before the mouth is ready. That is where Dr. Candace Monroe comes in. Candace is a therapist. She is educated, polished, respected, controlled, and trained to listen deeply. But what makes her powerful is not just her degree. It is the fact that she hears the truth behind what people say they want. She works in private rooms where people come with desire, shame, marriage, loneliness, power, secrecy, and hunger. People come to her because they can perform desire, buy desire, punish desire, drown it in religion, dress it up in money, or hide it behind reputation, but they cannot always tell the truth about it. Candace is a woman who has built a life around listening. But the deeper question in this book is this: what happens when the woman who listens for everyone else finally has to listen to herself? That is the heart of Candace. She is not written as a woman waiting to be saved. She is not written as a passive love interest. She is not written as someone who needs a powerful man to give her identity. Candace already has identity. She has education. She has work. She has standards. She has boundaries. She has a voice, but she also has hunger. She has inheritance. She has family secrets. She has a body that remembers things her mind has not fully accepted yet. And then she walks into Club Hope. Club Hope is one of the main characters in the book. It is not just a nightclub. The book says Club Hope was not merely a nightclub. That is true. Club Hope is a place of music, money, red light, velvet ropes, bottle service, private balconies, celebrity, danger, and desire. But underneath all of that, it is a building with memory. It is built inside an old bank building, which matters because the story is dealing with money, debt, denial, power, survival, and what happens when Black women had to create their own systems of protection because the official systems failed them. Club Hope is beautiful, but it is not innocent. It is seductive, but it is carrying something. It is a room where people come to be seen, but it is also a room where old secrets start looking back. And the man who owns it is Roman Greer. Roman is not a simple romantic lead. He is powerful, he is controlled, he is dangerous, he is wealthy, he is respected and feared. He has built an empire, but the question is what that empire is built on. That is what makes him interesting. Roman knows how to own a room. He knows how to protect. He knows how to command. He knows how to move people, money, security, and silence. But this book challenges the difference between protection and control. That is one of the deepest parts of the romance because Roman wants to protect Candace, but sometimes his version of protection looks like decision making without consent. Sometimes it looks like withholding information. Sometimes it looks like standing in front of the door instead of asking whether she wants the door closed. Candace does not let him get away with that. Their chemistry is strong, but the romance is not built on surrender. It is built on confrontation, respect, correction, desire, boundaries, and the slow process of Roman learning that care is not the same thing as control. One of the most important turns in their relationship is when Roman starts asking instead of commanding. That matters because the romance in Hope After Dark is not just about whether Candace and Roman want each other. They do. The deeper question is whether their desire can become honest without becoming possession. Can Roman love without control being the price? Can Candace want without apology? Can two people with real wounds, real power, and real danger around them choose each other without disappearing into each other? That is what makes this book grown. Now, the other layer of this book is the spiritual and ancestral piece. Hope After Dark is not just romance and crime suspense. It carries a supernatural thread rooted in family, memory, debt, women's survival, and old promises. Candace's grandmother, Odessa, and Roman's grandmother, Josephine, are tied to the deeper history under Club Hope. There was once a secret table, the Moon Supper, where women gathered not just for food, but for survival. They brought money, they brought names, they brought warnings, they brought needs, they brought the truth about who was in danger, who needed rent, who needed help, who needed to leave, who needed protection, and who needed to be believed. That is one of the most powerful ideas in the book. The Moon Supper is not just a mystical ritual. It represents Black women building protection when institutions failed them. It represents community memory. It represents survival records. It represents the difference between secrecy and privacy. There is a major line in the book that says, privacy protects people. That is one of the deepest themes in Hope After Dark, because the book is asking hard questions. Who gets exposed when the public demands truth? Who gets protected when privacy is honored? What is the difference between hiding harm and protecting victims? What is the difference between accountability and spectacle? That matters because Candace's work as a therapist becomes part of the conflict. Her clients' private desires and wounds become targets. Her voice gets used. Her profession gets attacked. Her name becomes part of the story. But Candace refuses to defend herself by exposing the people who trusted her. That is a major statement about care. She will not let scandal turn therapy into entertainment. She will not let people use accountability as an excuse to consume private pain. That is why the book has weight beyond romance. It is asking what happens when public hunger wants names, but justice requires order. Now, one of the strongest concepts in the book is the idea of a clean want. A clean want is not the same as a need. A need may be survival, a need may be safety, a need may be escape. But a clean want is something deeper and more personal. It is a desire that belongs to you without requiring harm, coercion, control, or the emotional slavery of another person. For Candace, one of her truths is that she wants her own desire to belong to her without apology. That is powerful because Candace has spent years listening to other people's desire, helping other people name their shame, helping other people survive what they were afraid to say. But now she has to name what belongs to her. For Roman, his clean want cuts through his whole identity. He wants to be loved without making control the price. That line tells you everything about him. Roman has built his life around control because control kept him alive. Control made him powerful. Control made him feared. Control protected his family and his clubs. But control also damaged people. It kept him from telling the truth. It made him confuse love with access, secrecy with safety, and protection with ownership. So when Roman says he wants to be loved without making control the price, that is not a soft, romantic line. That is a man confronting the way he has survived. That is what this romance does. It forces the characters to face the cost of their own defenses. The book also gives us Simone Weil, and Simone is important. She is famous, beautiful, watched, desired, and tired of carrying versions of herself that other people created. Through Simone, the book explores celebrity, image, the way women are consumed publicly, and the complicated love and harm passed down by fathers. Simone's father, Amos Vale, is tied to betrayal, maps, secrets, and old roads. Simone has to decide whether she will keep carrying what he broke or help repair it. Her clean want is about the women her father used no longer having to carry him. That is a powerful statement because it moves her out of guilt and into repair, not performance, repair. That is a major theme throughout the book. A lot of people want forgiveness without repair. A lot of people want apology without cost. A lot of people want truth only when it makes them look noble. Hope After Dark says no. Truth has to be carried. Repair has to be done. Love has to become accountable. Then there is Mara Cross. Mara adds another deep layer to the story. She is tied to Roman's past, Julian Cross's bloodline, the Moon Supper, and the question of what happens when a woman survives by shutting down her own desire. Mara's story is not just about being hurt. It is about what the body does to survive. The book asks what happens when a woman survives by wanting nothing because wanting has become dangerous. That is a painful and powerful question. And it connects back to Candace's role as a listener. Candace understands that coming back from trauma does not happen by being dragged. It does not happen by being forced open. It begins with one true thing, one honest sentence, one small want, even something as simple as water, sleep, or an orange. That is why the orange scene matters. Mara peeling and tasting the orange is not small. It is a woman reclaiming a chosen appetite, a woman saying this belongs to me, a woman refusing to let hunger only exist as something someone else can use. That is romance writing with emotional and spiritual depth. And then we have Julian Cross. Julian is not only a villain with power, he is a man who understands hunger and uses it wrong. He understands shame. He understands leverage. He understands that people can be manipulated through what they secretly want, what they fear, and what they have been denied. He represents dirty want. He represents appetite without care. He represents the kind of man who takes survival systems and turns them into control systems. That is why the conflict is not just physical. Yes, there is danger. Yes, there are shootings, threats, abductions, haunted rooms, red doors, mirrors, ledgers, police, clubs, warehouses, and public pressure. But the real battle is over meaning. What does hope mean? Who owns the ledger? Who gets named? Who gets protected? Who gets exposed? Who gets to want? Who gets to repair? And who benefits when truth becomes spectacle? That is why Oakland matters in this book. This is not a random city backdrop. Oakland is part of the story spirit. The book moves through Oakland, Berkeley, San Jose, Sacramento, club spaces, therapy spaces, family homes, kitchens, churches, warehouses, and public streets. But Oakland is the emotional center. Oakland is beautiful, wounded, proud, watched, misunderstood, desired, and still standing. That is the same energy as the book. Hope After Dark is not trying to make Oakland clean for outsiders. It is showing Oakland with elegance and danger, memory and music, money and grief, red light and daylight, old women and powerful men, private pain and public hunger. The old women in this book matter too. Miss Claudette, Evelyn, Pearl, Ida, Alberta, Miriam. These women bring humor, food, memory, discipline, and truth. They are not background characters. They are part of the intelligence network of the story. They know things men forgot to ask. They carry history. They carry warning. They carry food. Because in this world, food is not decorative. Food is part of survival. Food is part of care. Food is part of the table being set right. That is why it matters when the women bring real food to a false supper. Cross stages a table, but the women feed one. That difference is everything. A table without care is just a trap. A table with food, truth, consent, and repair becomes something else. It becomes a place where the old debt can finally be addressed. Another deep part of Hope After Dark is the difference between dark and daylight. The book starts at night. It starts with club lights, desire, mystery, secrets, and the city after dark. But the story keeps pushing toward daylight. Daylight does not mean everything is fixed. Daylight means things can no longer hide the same way. Daylight means Roman has to look at hope without the red lights. Candace has to look at herself without only being the listener. The city has to look at the difference between truth and consumption. And the romance has to step out of adrenaline and into choice. That is why the ending matters. Candace and Roman do not just fall into each other because danger made them close. They slow down, they ask, they choose daylight. That is grown romance. Not just heat, not just chemistry, not just crisis intimacy, but choice, consent, timing, the ability to say, I want this, but I want it when the wanting is not built out of adrenaline. That is the emotional maturity of the romance. And Roman's growth is shown in something simple but powerful. He asks. He asks to drive her home. He asks to walk her to the door. He asks to kiss her. For a man built on command, that is not small. That is character movement. And Candace going inside alone matters too, because the romance does not end with her being absorbed into Roman's world. It ends with her returning to her own office, her own notebook, her own record, and writing what she wants after dark and in daylight. That is the kind of ending I wanted, a romance that gives you heat, danger, suspense, and supernatural weight, but still respects the woman's selfhood. And at the same time, the ending opens the next door. The book does not close the whole war, it expands the world. By the end, Oakland has found hope, but Sacramento has kept the crown. That means this is only the beginning of Darius Blackman romance. Hope After Dark opens the Oakland Moon series with Candace and Roman, but it also opens a larger world of ledgers, bloodlines, old debts, powerful families, dangerous men, women's memory, spiritual inheritance, romance, crime, and the cities that keep secrets after dark. So when I say welcome to the world of Darius Blackman romance, I mean welcome to a world where love is not separated from truth. Welcome to a world where desire is beautiful, but it is never treated as simple. Welcome to a world where Black women have voice, power, sensuality, history, and agency. Welcome to a world where Black men can be powerful and still have to answer for what power cost. Welcome to a world where romance is not just about who wants who. It is about who can stand in the truth long enough to love without consuming. Hope After Dark is for readers who want romance with atmosphere, readers who want Black love with danger and depth, readers who want sensuality, suspense, spiritual inheritance, family secrets, grown conversations, and characters who have to earn their way into each other's lives. This is not a clean little love story. This is desire after dark. This is hope under pressure. This is romance with a red door, a city listening, and a table that remembers. Again, my name is Brian Frazier, and I write under the pen name Darius Blackman. This is Hope After Dark, Oakland Moon, Book 1. Welcome to Darius Blackman Romance. Welcome to Club Hope. Welcome to Oakland After Dark.